First of all, congratulations on the great week. Can you talk a little bit about how proud you are of the guys for how the last week played out?
Well, I don't know if I have enough smarts to do that. I mean, these guys have weathered a lot of adversity this year, and we kind of pointed toward the conference tournament as a chance for us to right ourselves, another opportunity, a clean slate. You can say all those things, but the players still had to do it, and they went out there last week in dominating form and won 4 games. Outscoring their opponent 34-14. I just can't say enough about them. Especially happy for the seniors; they deserve this.
And how much did the seniors' leadership play in this last week?
I think a lot. I think they grew too throughout all the struggles of the season. I'm sure they doubted at times whether or not things were going to come together. But they deserve as much credit as anybody on the team. You're only going to be as strong, I believe, as your seniors. And the seniors have been questioned, I think, at times this year about their leadership, and they finally just threw that to the side and said, "Hey, we can do this," and went out and played some of the best ball I've seen the Creighton team play in a while. And that includes last year's team.
Yeah. Can you talk about the team's experience in Corvallis last year and how that will help during the trip to Los Angeles?
I think our conference tournament last year, our regional tournament experience last year helped out last week. Certainly, we were very poised in those games last week. I can tell by our practices here the first couple of days in preparation for UCLA on Friday that there's no anxiety. The players feel like we have zero to lose. It's going to take a good team to beat these guys right now. And obviously I've not seen UCLA up close and personal, but I know they're a very good club, being a national #2 seed. But they're going to have to play a heck of a game. Our guys aren't going to back down from anybody, and they're as a confident group as you can be at this time.
With as you just said, with UCLA being one of the top teams nationally, what approach do you think you and your coaching staff and players will take for that first game?
Well, we got to keep the game close because we're not going to score a lot of runs off this pitching staff. I mean, UCLA is a deep pitching staff. They have excellent defense, and they play a similar style to ours, and where they believe if they score 3 or 4 runs, they're going to win the ball game. So we got to stay in touch with them. I mean, we got to get off to a fast start. We can't get behind 1 or 2 runs like we did against Southern Illinois on Saturday. We got behind 4-0, and really expect to come back. So I really think the first 2 or 3 innings are going to play heavily into this game. We've preached to our guys a lot about getting off to fast starts. I think the UCLA game will be maybe as important as any game, to get off to a quick start, to let UCLA know that they're in a ball game. The longer we can stay with them, the more pressure goes into the UCLA dugout.
With the exception of UCLA, what do you think it's going to take for your team to make some noise in LA?
Well, we got to pitch. We got to pitch, and we got to defend. I mean, we can't afford sloppy defense, and I'm not sure about their field. I haven't never been to Jackie Robinson Field there at UCLA, but our pitching and defense has to be strong. I think we're going to run across some very good arms. We have this year, but not so much last week. We ran into some tired arms really in the conference tournament. And then continue that timely hitting. And I don't know if we're going to get double-digit hits like we have, the last 5 or 6 games, but when we do get an opportunity to drive in a run, when we do get an opportunity to get a runner at third base with less than 2 outs, we got to find a way to get them in. I really feel like if we can score 3 or 4 runs ourselves, that we'll be in good shape, because they have a pretty big ballpark there in LA. It's a little shorter to right field, but the field's going to play true, and it's going to play into what we're accustomed to playing. And we're not going into an environment where there's going to see a ton of runs.
Sure. So can you tell the fans a little bit about your preparation for leaving early tomorrow morning and before your game Friday?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll leave Omaha around 6:30 tomorrow, and we have to have 2 different flights to get us out to LA. But we'll get out to LA about 11:30, 11:45. We have a 2 o'clock practice scheduled for tomorrow. We'll practice lightly for about an hour and a half. We'll talk more deeply about UCLA. We've had a couple practices on campus where we're just trying to work on our skills, and now we're going to start really the preparation for UCLA. Will be on Wednesday afternoon. We'll try to do something light Wednesday night. There's a couple ball games out there. I know I'm looking forward to possibly going to Anaheim Angels, where my nephew Scott is the works for them, and maybe some of the other players. I know the Dodgers are in town against the Brewers, so we'll give them some options on what they might want to do on Wednesday night. And Thursday we'll practice at 11 o'clock in the morning Pacific time out there at Jackie Robinson Stadium. And then we'll spend some time in the afternoon meeting and going over personnel for UCLA. And then Friday, I know the coaches will get out to watch the first game, 3 o'clock Pacific time between San Diego and New Mexico. And then our team will start its preparation about 5 o'clock that night for the 7 o'clock game. So we still have some time to really get them in the right frame of mind. At the same time, I want them to have a little fun out there too, kind of get away from the preparation of the UCLA game, and hopefully they get to a major league game tomorrow night, whether it be the Anaheim Angels against the Yankees or the Brewers against the Dodgers. I hope to get them to one of those two contests tomorrow night.
From a coach's perspective, you mentioned the not playing on that field before.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you look for when you take the field for the first time in practice and things like that?
How the outfield is configured, because sometimes outfields are cookie cutter outfielders, or the dimensions are the same, 330 down the line, 375 in the gaps, 400 in center. Some fields are different. Like I heard this field's a little different in right field. It's a little shorter in right field. How's the ball going to play off the fence on an extra base hit? Is it going to hit the fence and drop? Is it going to hit the fence and come back to the outfielder so the outfielder doesn't overrun it? How fast is the infield? We're going out west now. Is the grass going to be different than it is in the Midwest? Is it going to be cut short? Is it going to be quick? How much foul territory do you have? How much space there is between home plate and the backstop? We'll roll some balls down either line to see how the infield is tapered. Is the ball going to stay fair? Is it going to roll foul? Because they like to bunt, we like to bunt. Sometimes the pitchers will like to walk on the mound, even though they won't be able to throw off the game mound. They just like to walk to get a perception of, does it feel like you're throwing more downhill, or does it feel like you're more flat? And then for the hitters, it's very valuable for the hitters to get used to the batting eye, how the ball is going to carry. Is it a field that, like TD Ameritrade or some of the other fields we play on, where if you hit a fly ball, it's going to get caught? Are we going to have to continue to stay flat to the baseball? There's a lot of information that you're going to gather within that hour and 15 minutes that we have, which we will use to help formulate a little bit of a game plan before we go into the 7 o'clock game against UCLA.
And you've always, and maybe it's true or not, but you've always been kind of perceived as a kind of a small ball coach. Mm-hmm. Do you think your game plan alters too much going into a game where you haven't played someone before, or a new field or anything like that?
No, I like to get the other team to handle the ball a little bit, and my goal is every inning to get a guy in scoring position. If we can get a guy in scoring position 9 times, I feel like we're going to be successful 3-4 of those times out of the 9 and have opportunities to score. So I don't think we're going to change much. I think this pitcher is going to be around the plate a little bit, so we might execute a few more hit and runs. Sometimes it's hard to hit and run against a pitcher that doesn't throw enough strikes, but these guys are strike throwers. So, we're going to be really aggressive. We're not going to go in there and play cautious by any means. So whatever it takes offensively for us to score runs, whether it's a safety squeeze like we did down in the conference tournament, hit and run, we stole some bags down there in the conference tournament. We're going to do what we have to do, but the last thing we're going to do is go in there and be unaggressive, because that gives us no chance. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to push and take some chances offensively with the hope that UCLA, we might catch them off guard.
Good luck.
You bet. Thanks.